All right. So, always questions that matter. Don't shake your head at me, Alec. While we waste away waiting for training camp, we wanted to do this the last couple days. Too busy, too much content. So let's run it out now. My question for both of you guys. Do you think CeeDee Lamb could hold this NFL record at the end of the season?
Oh, I don't know.
Let me tell you what it is before you go any further.
Well, all right then.
Okay, well, just what's your initial thought?
Yes.
Yes.
But
okay.
also no, because I think George Pickens is probably going to cannibalize a little bit of this.
Okay.
I think I'm right.
That actually is kind of relevant to this, yes.
I'm kind of guessing, actually, at this point.
So CeeDee Lamb has 496 career receptions going into the season.
It's a lot.
That is. If he can get to 500 this season, that would make him just the fifth player in NFL history to get 500 or more career catches by the age of 26.
Wow.
Here are the other ones. Larry Fitzgerald, Randy Moss, Jarvis Landry, and DeAndre Hopkins. The record...
They're all pretty good players.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, feels like there's a
Jarvis
different
Landry
level
fell
with
off,
the
but
first two, but yeah.
I don't know. D-Hop was one of those dudes we were considering.
So the NFL record by most catches by the age of 26 is 540. It feels safe to assume that CeeDee Lamb can get more than 44 catches, right?
Yes, absolutely.
However, Justin Jefferson has 495 catches.
Oh.
So he is one behind CeeDee Lamb. So it stands to reason that both of these will quite emphatically break the record this season. So my question is, will, not could, will CeeDee Lamb hold this NFL record at the end of the season?
Hold the record.
Hold it.
Whoa.
Not have it for a minute. Have it at the end of the season.
Somebody said most drop passes. Come on, man. What are we doing here? I think he could if the running game isn't good. If the running game's not good, then CeeDee Lamb's going to get more targets because he essentially becomes part of your running game in your short passing game. That's how Michael Thomas got as many receptions as he did. It was short passing game. And a lot of people take shots at Michael Thomas. That was the Sean Payton offense. That was Sean Payton. That was Drew Brees' ability to throw at that point. His arm was starting to fall off a little bit, and short passes. He's still very accurate. So I do think that he can. And I think he's going to have a stack of. I think he will.
Okay.
I think he will. I think he's going to have a stack of receptions this year, man.
Alec?
I think he will. I'm trying to think about the teams themselves, the offenses, the quarterbacks running the offenses. I think you have the better quarterback in this scenario just because we haven't seen J.J. McCarthy play actual NFL football yet. And then I started asking myself, and I kind of hate this, who's going to be playing from behind more this season? That's going to induce more throwing to your playmaker. In my mind, I would say that probably Dallas is going to end up playing from behind a little bit more because maybe Justin Jefferson does have another 97-yard touchdown with Kevin Harlan losing his mind on the broadcast, So he doesn't need to do all of that. CeeDee Lamb, we've seen him need to do that a little bit more recently, so I think he's got the better situation to do it.
All right. Now, Corey, I want to start with you here because
I dare you.
Okay, I agree with this. Because you have been really upfront about ideas and questions about this, so I'll start with you. What does the Eberflus defense look like?
Okay.
What do you think it will look like?
I think I think Osa's probably going to have his best season.
Okay.
Because his defense is really reliant on his position. You want somebody that can hold up next to him, like that. You definitely want that. You want somebody to do their job there, but Osa is going to be a key component to that. I think Micah is going to get a lot of pressure off the edge. I think they're going to give him many opportunities, but I don't think it's going to be blitzing pressure. He's going to be defensive end in a 4-3 type of situation.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to get a lot of that, and I don't know how much linebacker he's going to play. I do think the fact that they beefed up their linebacking crew, Kenneth Murray is a bigger linebacker, Jack Sanborn's a bigger linebacker. They made them bigger because that's what this defense calls for. And if you're too light there, you're going to get run over like the Cowboys have for the last 3, 4, 7 years.
That's true.
So they got beefier in that respect. And that's something Parcells did too. You know, he was running a 3-4 kind of hybrid with Zimmer here. But they did get he was like, look, Datwin, Dexter Coakley, got to give them credit. Like, they're working hard, but and then I think you're going to get tough secondary play.
Okay.
The secondary for the Bears, dude, they were fun to watch last year. If you didn't get a chance, they were fun to watch. And I hope that Diggs is able to get into that mentality and be a tough dude along with it.
Yeah.
Because I think your safety play and your so I think it's going to be a good, strong, stout defense. A lot of people are saying right now that it's old, it's ancient, it's dinosaur, but I think I saw it last year play pretty well. And all it needs to do, it is bend, don't break, but all it needs to do is make sure that not a lot of points are scored on them and that they can give the ball back to their offense and let them do their work. That's going to be the key for them.
For me, there's a reason that a guy like Jack Sanborn comes to the team and is so successful in this scheme is because it's built on effort and intensity.
Yeah.
It's not exactly built upon, okay, we need 4 cornerstone players that are going to be, highest paid at their position, that we know what they are. We're going to have enough guys that know their job well enough to where things are going to look consistent even when you do have to make some substitutions across the defensive line. Whenever a linebacker gets banged up and you need to fill in and you need a Maris Taliafoul to step up in his second year, it's going to look a little bit more consistent. So I think that it's going to be intense. I think you're going to get takeaways too. Whether it's via the interception, the forced fumble, what have you. I think if you were missing the Dan Quinn style a little bit more, not so the finesse aspect of it, but the intensity, playing with your hair on fire, and getting takeaways, I think you're going to see a little bit more of that.
Okay. You guys mentioned 2 different people who would qualify for this, so I want to skip to this question.
Skip.
Which Cowboys player makes their first Pro Bowl? So you mentioned Leafau, you mentioned Osa. Neither have ever made a Pro Bowl. Donovan Wilson, George Pickens, Trent Sieg. There is a variety of options. Who would be the Cowboy that you would pick to make their first Pro Bowl?
Tyler Booker, as a rookie.
I mean,
as a rookie right guard, I think he's going to do it.
If that happens, then that's probably a pretty good sign. If it's him or Tyler Guyton,
dude, if
that
Guyton,
feels like a good sign.
And Sean brought it up this morning. He was like, Corey Majors thinks the offensive line for the Cowboys is the linchpin. Like, it's whether or not they have. And I agree. I'm right there. If Guyton was to get a Pro Bowl selection, we freaking did it. Like, every Cowboys front office person should just walk around high-fiving and also hold the middle finger up at the same time, going, you guys didn't believe, but it took us 1 full year to get the real version of him. So I'm going to go with Booker. Still, I'm going to go with the other.
Even
the other
ahead
time.
of Osa.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, that'd be good.
Although I do need Osa to have a great season.
For sure. Who do you need to have a great season more?
Tyler Guyton.
Okay. Alec, Cowboys player who will make their first career Pro Bowl this season. And I know it's a Pro Bowl games and all that. Like, ignore that part.
It's just a glorified fan vote at this point. And so my mind goes to George Pickens immediately because all he needs to do is have a couple of catches that make the Sports Center top 10, for maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then he's going to get enough votes to where people are like, oh my God, he's got a real quarterback now. He's making these crazy catches on national television. I just think he's going to get the volume in terms of viewership and actual pass catching, which are not related at all. But they're going to work in this scenario for him to get enough votes.
Okay, I'm intrigued by that answer. Now, I know we're going pretty defensive intensive this today. Okay. There will be plenty more questions. We got a long time still till training camp. Will the third time be the charm for Mazi Smith? He'll now have his 3rd defensive coordinator in 3 years, with each having a different concept of his particular position.
Man, you're asking me to answer.
Well, the way you just said that leads me to
I was going to say think so.
Okay.
But I thought he had a better year last year than he had his rookie season.
I'd agree. Still not good, but I agree.
But it was better, so he progressed.
He did.
I think he can progress again. I just don't know where the ceiling is for him now. If the floor, let's just assume the floor was his rookie season,
okay,
and he'll never be at the floor again,
okay,
until maybe he retires.
Yeah,
I don't know where's the ceiling, and is the ceiling really low? And because the floor seems so low to start,
yeah,
and a couple of the things that were problems for him were motivation, desire to do it on his own, like those types of things. And you're not going to get better if you don't have those things. So did that change for him? And how long is he away from contract season? What, 2 more years? He's got.
Yeah, he'd have one after this year. He'd have 1 more year, and then you'd have the option. Which right now feels like.
So I think he will be better, but it's not. It doesn't take a lot to be better.
Okay.
He doesn't have that far to go.
Alec?
Right there with Corey, where it's like it's kind of hard to go backwards. I feel like any improvement is going to look magnified with him, which is not an indictment. It's not a shot at him. I think that gives him a good base to impress us, though, because I do think that even being average is going to be a success in our eyes. I know at the end of the season, whenever playoffs are over, we're going to be like, well, he still wasn't good enough to warrant his draft position and everything, but we're going to be happy that he did play better. So I do think he's going to step up.
If he's average at 1 tech,
I'm happy with that because they've swung and missed so many times.
Me too.
And the one time it felt like they were going to at least have a feasible player at that position, maybe 2 times that you say with a couple of the veterans that they brought in, Gerald McCoy, if his knee didn't explode in practice, then maybe you had a success at that position for 1 time and 1 time only. But outside of that, I'll take anything average from him this year for sure.